What's going on, guys? It's Groove back again with another one from Bitcoin, everything divided by 21 million. And in this video, we're going to go over Bitcoin in its adoption phase. So he first says that, life is like a video game. Those who have the best items are going to progress faster. When it comes to life, if you were in the early 1900s, those best video game items would have been getting into the steel industry, the railroad industry, the oil industry. And then as you went up and progressed, maybe you wanted to get into real estate because houses were $25,000 a pop in the 1940s and 50s. Then you wanted to get into the stock exchange and work in finance in the 70s and 80s, and this is where all the money was made. And then maybe you wanted to invest into the internet in the 90s. That was the crazy thing. And now we're going into this cryptocurrency Bitcoin world. We're still super early, and so these might be the new tools to beat this video game called life even faster. So then he talks a little bit about, hyper Bitcoinization, that word, hyper Bitcoinization. So what is that? That is when the entire world is on a Bitcoin standard. And with that, we'll be measuring everything in Bitcoin. So right now, everything is pretty much still measured by dollars. Meaning, you go outside, how much is that car? Oh, it's $60,000. How much is that one Bitcoin? Well, right now in 2024, it's $68,000. But in the future, being on this Bitcoin standard, everything will be measured by Bitcoin and not the dollar standard. And doing that is going to take some getting used to if we end up going down that route. Because right now, again, everything is just, what's the dollar price? What's the price of Bitcoin? Well, it's like, well, what do you mean, what's the price of Bitcoin? One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. But again, going down that route, it'll be, hey, how much is that meal? Oh, it's 20 sats. How much is that car? 40,000 sats. Like, that's what the world would look like on a Bitcoin standard. Adopting this Bitcoin standard world, it would look drastically different. Like right now, so many things in this world are done through violence or coercion. But going on this Bitcoin standard, having a sound money, everything will be voluntary. You will have to provide value in order to get something. You can't just go out and rob people or steal or be evil. Like pretty much evil will almost be non-existent because you have to provide value. You have to help one another. We have to communicate in order to exchange this value of Bitcoin. And again, when it goes back to removing this violence, adopting a Bitcoin standard, it just makes everything better. It makes cooperation better. It makes society better as a whole. We no longer need to coerce people to do things. People will do things because they want to. It's a voluntary system, which is just better for everybody. Just thinking about the Boeing situation that's going on right now, because they're trying to make as much money as possible because money can just be printed out of thin air. So they're trying to get it. They're cutting corners. They're creating a bad product just to get more dollars. Again, it doesn't incentivize doing the best thing possible. It's just, how do I get more of it? And so they produce a crappy quality, and so now doors are blowing off, gears are falling out of the plane. Going to a sound money standard, adopting this Bitcoin standard, it incentivizes everybody to up their game. You can't just get profits because the money is just made out of thin air. You actually have to produce a good quality product in order to get the Bitcoin. He also talks about, adopting this Bitcoin standard, it will wipe clean these institutions that aren't doing anything. If you think about the S&P 500, that is the top 500 companies in the world. And there's thousands of other companies underneath them. But at the same time, there's only 7 companies that are holding up the entire market. So that means the rest of them in the S&P 500 are crap, and the rest of them do nothing. These are zombie companies that are just suckling up to the government, and they just need help. They need bailouts. They need welfare just to maintain. And how going to this sound money standard, how getting on a Bitcoin standard would wipe clean all of this unnecessary waste that we don't need in society anymore. He talks about in this adoption of Bitcoin, once these other currencies are gone and everybody started adopting the Bitcoin standard, all of their assets will drop and all of that money will just flow into Bitcoin. People hold art because it holds the value of art, not because they want to see the painting in their house. And it's the same with fine wine or cars or watches. People are just putting their money into something that holds its value. Once people really understand what Bitcoin is, all that money is going to flow into Bitcoin instead of holding your value in something else that can be taken from you or stolen, and it's still melting at a slower rate than the currencies that are outside right now. People will put all of their value into Bitcoin. And I believe Michael Saylor came out on national TV and said that, Bitcoin will be 7% of all these assets. Of course, he's got to be conservative because he's on, primetime news. But there's just something that's telling me, I don't know, just who the heck am I? Just some guy on the internet. More money than 7% is going to flow into Bitcoin. Like, this thing is going to be huge. Because there's so much wealth out there, there's so much money, and people I want that other painting, I want that new car, not because I want to drive it, I'm just going to store it away so I can sell it later if I need to. All of that will just completely stop, and everything will go down to utility value. So people will only get art that they want to put on their walls. People will only get supercars that they want to drive. Everything else will just flow into Bitcoin, and it's going to be way more than 7%. But again, you got to be conservative for the news. You got to be conservative for regular people. So the primary purpose of tools and technology is just to save you time. Every company uses technology to save them time so they can make more money or produce more goods and services. And money is also a tool. Money is supposed to save you time. Because we live on this dollar system, this fiat system, it comes with inflation. It's baked into it. And so you can never save yourself time by just saving in dollars, by earning dollars. Over time, your time is stolen from you. But when you save in Bitcoin, or if you have the chance to earn Bitcoin, your wealth just goes up. Your time gets saved for the future. And so you have more time. Because inflation is baked into our system, it's literally butting heads with technology. Now, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself, and I've gone down some rabbit holes, and there are a lot of people out there that think that there's so much technology that's being held back from us because of this. Because the money system we live under, it needs inflation, but technology just makes everything get cheaper. Why is the price of, a TV get cheaper over time? Because the technology gets better. At the same time, why does the price of cars get more expensive? Why does the price of food get more expensive? Did we get worse at making cars? Did we get worse at producing food? No, we got better, but for some reason, the price of these things just keep going up. And that's because this current monetary system we live under has to have prices go up over time, whereas technology should make the prices come down. And so something is going to break. The system that we live under, it cannot continuously sustain this. Bitcoin is here to be like, hey, I'm over here, guys. I can work with you. And this is where, again, adopting Bitcoin comes in. So, because Bitcoin works with technology to free up and save your time for the future, whereas the current system you live under right now is just stealing from you. As the current system we live under makes you more poor, people just vote in for their own demise. They're going to vote politicians who are going to give them free stuff, which just means more of their freedoms are taken from them. And so it's like this loop. It's like, first of all, the monetary system steals from you, so then you vote politicians in to give you more free stuff, which just takes away your freedoms. When you accept free housing, when you accept free welfare and free UBI and free healthcare, all of that comes with control. All of that comes with you now are under the thumb of these politicians and this government that are going to tell you to do things that you may not want to do. Or now you can't say what you want to say because now you're censored, because if not, your money doesn't work and you can't buy groceries. It's all just bad for everybody. And then again, it just makes you go down the road and vote yourself into slavery even more. And again, we need to get off this system and go to a sound monetary system. At the end of the day, your government isn't here to help you. They're here to control you. They're here to steal from you. They're here to, again, make you scared and afraid so they can gain more control. Whereas Bitcoin is the complete opposite of this. And it is the fix to this current system that we live under. You can't fix the system from inside the system. You need to look outside the box, which is Bitcoin. But that takes a lot of study, a lot of research, and a lot of pain too. So many people, they haven't gone through enough pain to be like, what's wrong? What's going on? And what is the fix? Or how can I do something different? Which, if people that do that, they just go down the route and all roads lead to Bitcoin. If you haven't invested in Bitcoin, if you haven't checked it out, you really need to do your research. You really need to look and realize, like, why is my life so messed up and how can I change that? And then you may go down the path of Bitcoin. And then that's when everybody will start to adopt. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much it for this chapter. I really liked it. Understanding what a full scope of adoption looks like, understanding how the world completely will change if we go down this Bitcoin, hyper Bitcoinization world, and what that will look like and how much better that will be. So yeah, if you haven't hit a like and subscribe, go ahead and do that right now, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.